Okay guys, here we are. It's day 2. We just found some more iron. I was talking about my novel a little bit, about why Aaron named the club the Dead Mothers Club. It's a writing club, and the title was based, or the name of the club is based on the idea of the Dead Mothers books, which is some writers, most writers, for young adults and children refer to the Newbery Award winners. Newbery Award is a big deal. I mean, you win a Newbery, your books are going to sell forever. They're some of the most well-known and classic books of all time. So at any rate, but a lot of those award winners feature children who've lost at least one parent, and almost always the mother. So they, it's kind of a theme in the Newbery books that you find quite often, that these books are about children who've suffered losses. So Aaron, the character who's passed away and who's kind of driving the whole storyline, has been hanging out in forums online with other writers, and that's where she picked up the parlance. And so when she started the writing club in order to encourage quality, she said we should emulate these, and it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, but she thinks that we should emulate good writers, and that often good writers write those books. So that was where I think it would appeal to a teenager, that kind of inside knowledge of the industry. And especially a teenager like Aaron, who was, there's a cave in the area. I keep hearing cave noises. So at any rate, so she has started this club. All the kids in the book are members of the club. That's the whole... Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and cook up these 6. I'm not finding a ton of iron. I found diamonds, which is great, but I really need more iron. Okay, my crops are finally starting to grow. That's a really good thing, because I really need the food. Get some crop growth going on here. And I know not all these will be ideally placed, but I got to get as many seeds in as I can. Where's my hoe? Did I leave it in the box? I think I did. Let's put those up there just for safekeeping, I guess. Let's see. I don't think this one will... Yeah, it won't, will it? Once I do this, that'll give me a little bit more digging room here, and then I can go over one more this way too, I think. Well, like I said, they won't be all ideally placed, but we'll do the best we can. Over here and see what we got going on. What we've got growing on. Haha. So yeah, the premise of the story is Aaron has committed suicide. By the time the book starts, you never actually even get to meet Aaron. Well, you do very briefly at the beginning. You actually get to read about her last moments, or day, I should say. Part of her last day. Oh, geez, this wheat's growing like mad over here. So you do meet Aaron very, very briefly. Kind of get a feel for what's going on with her. And I think that the opening sequence does give a little bit of a clue of what's going on with her. So at any rate, as the book progresses, now Tony finds evidence in this journal and finds out what was going on that made her make this decision. And it turns out that her uncle, who is a deacon in the church and kind of a big deal in the community, has been molesting her. So, and she's a teenager, obviously. Tony is just, he's a church kid, which is what I was growing up, actually. And the thought that an adult could do something like that, and it's an adult that he knows personally, is just, it's very difficult for him to accept it. It's a shock. So I gotta get some food going on here. Nice. I got 4 loaves. So yeah, that's, and then he's faced with the idea, well, do I tell somebody? you know, how to handle it, because this is an elder in his church. This is a, you know, somebody that he looks up to and is respected, somebody that's well known in the community, and his parents are, you know, very adamant that, you know, respect and those sorts of things, and he has some conflict with his father over it and stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's hard to condense a book into to just talk about it like this without making it sound like his parents are totally repressive jerks, you know, because that sounds terrible. It sounds like how could they possibly, you know, protect someone who may have done this. And they're not actually protecting someone. They don't know. Tony starts to talk to his parents about it, but they don't really know what's going on, and, you know, so on until later on in the book. And it's not as if they're not all like, oh, well, you can't tell anybody because, you know, he's a deacon and so on. No, it's not like that. I don't mean to make it sound like that. Their parents aren't that backwards. Trying to decide if I want to do any exploring or if I should just go back to caving for the rest of the episode. Eesh. This wheat might take a little bit to grow up, and I don't want to waste too much. Maybe I should make more garden. I don't want to waste too much of my saturation by derping around out here. I'm just exploring and looking for wolves, which is going to happen fairly soon. I'm already on day 2. Going into day 3, and I'm going to have to... See, my thing is, I'm not really equipped to... hunt skeletons, which is what I'm going to need to do to get bones, until I get some armor. And my hoe just broke. Crud. So until I have armor, I'm kind of up the creek for, you know, I can't really go get a skelly and get the bones that I need. That's not what I wanted. Until I, you know, I'm a little bit better equipped to go out and hunt skellies, so... And I also obviously need food to be able to regen. Because mob hunting is not for the faint of heart. Not sure how much of this will actually be irrigated. Okay, up to there. This one probably won't be. Oh yeah, it will be. Okay, good. Good enough. Okay. I only got 3 seeds to plant here. I'm just like making all this farmland. I don't even have the seeds yet. I should put something there. Yeah. Next time. I don't have any. Really? Gonna make me jump again just because of screw up over here. I should build myself a little bridge across the water. Then I wouldn't have to keep running and jumping. Let's see, where can I put these? Here's a good spot. See, if I had a little bridge there, then I wouldn't have to keep jumping. Okay, sun's going down. Or my garden on this side. Oh, I think I got more wheat growing up over here. Nice! Yeah, like I said, though, I don't want to dip around out here too long. I really want to get started looking for wolves. But I also wanted to have a good garden going, and I've got a fair amount of gardening now going on, so I think I'll be okay for food. Yeah, it's growing really fast now. Okay, this is where I can place more. Okay. Alright, yeah, I'm just gonna make myself a little bridge so I'm not constantly jumping. What else have I got for... Andesite. Oh, I don't want to go too far because I got the pumpkins right there. Oh well. Let's use cobble for this last bit. Okay. Good enough. And I'm not constantly jumping over them. Unless I fall into the water. Okay. Yeah, but it's good though. This is all growing really fast. I've got 5 more wheat already in my inventory. That's growing really good over there. Let's see, what did I get? I got some gold cooked. Do I have wheat? I do. So, I'm going to hold off on doing anything with those diamonds only because I think I want a diamond sword. So I'm going to wait. Don't fall down the hole. That would be bad. It's still day 2. Seems like the day is going really, really slowly. This is probably going to be it for my recording for the moment. Why am I doing? I don't want that up there. I want this down here. I'm just going to organize my inventory a little bit. I didn't actually mean to open the furnace. That there. I've got torches. I got food. Got a shovel. I need redstone to make a clock. That's why I grabbed that gold. So yeah, we'll go ahead and go back to mining. I do have another iron pick made already. I went quite a ways in that direction. I think I'm going to start right here. Oh, jeez. I said to listen to my instincts more often. Oh, sweet. That's what I'm really after is iron. Redstone's great, but iron's really what I need right now. Still day 2. So my plan is to get armored up as soon as I get enough iron to have some proper armor. Then I'll go out and start hunting some skellies. Now, which way was I? Was going this way. And once I start hunting skellies, then obviously I can, get some bones. I really don't intend to spend all my time underground. So yeah, once Tony finds out, he alerts the other kids. Now there's 2 more kids involved. Regine, her mother is addicted to drugs. I know I have all these terrible parents in the story. And Regine is pretty much responsible for her younger sister. So as the story unfolds, you get to meet more of, get to see more of her. And again, very responsible kid. She looks after things. And makes the best of it, And actually, her mom's not a terrible person. She's an addict, and she's a highly functioning addict, but she's not capable of, taking care of her children properly. So that's Regine. She's the angry friend. She gets very angry when Tony reveals what he's found and that he hasn't yet gone to the police. Mark, who is Aaron's oldest friend, lives in foster care. And his parents are actually probably the most stable and, the good parents of the group. They also go to the same church that Aaron, Tony, and the families all went to. So they obviously become part of the story as well. But it's more about the dynamics of how these families interact and, not just as families, but as a church. And, you don't really see much of the churchy stuff. I tried to keep that, to a minimum because not everybody is in the church. But I also feel like I'm not going to apologize for having grown up in church. I don't feel like I was repressed. I actually grew up in a really good church. We tend to hear the stories about the churches that are all, anti-gay and are repressive and terrible places. And my church wasn't perfect. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there was definitely some things that now as an adult that I don't agree with and I think were wrong and, that I think they had the wrong idea on. But that's, I obviously my home church that I grew up in, it doesn't even exist anymore. Our pastor was elderly, and when he passed away, they weren't able to find another pastor to replace him. So it was a very, very small church, so it was difficult to find a pastor. And I went away to college, and I actually left the church for a good many years over some of those issues that I don't agree on. And after I lost my dad and I suffered another major trauma, I just didn't want anything to do with it, for quite a long time. But that's a whole other story. I came back to church because I wanted my kids to have the education more than the belief even. I didn't want, doing daycare and being around kids all the time, I talked to kids that didn't even know like who Noah was, who Moses is. And I thought, how do you live in America with our history? And again, not everybody, grew up with faith. Not everybody believes, what I believe. And that's fine. I'm not putting that down by any means. Everybody has their own, some are you're probably watching this are atheists, or some may be Muslims or Jews or, Hindu. There's many, agnostic. There's so many different belief systems. And my take on it is obviously I believe, in Jesus and that's the salvation and all that. And I'm not going to go into all that in a video because, if you want to know, if you're interested in what Christians believe and what makes me Christian and you want to hear about that, then you're, absolutely welcome to reach out to me on Twitter or PM or whatever, and I would talk to individuals about that. But I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, and I don't like to how do you call it, proselytize, I guess. Because belief is such a personal thing, and I don't want to try to even to explain my own beliefs. It's way more than I can go into in a video. It's just not enough time to really get into anything. But at any rate, I just feel like with our history that we were founded on, one of the reasons that people came here. No, it's not the only reason, but one of the reasons people came to America was to have the freedom to practice their religion as they saw fit. And knowing that the majority of the settlers were Christian and they are Quakers or, and so on, not all of them, but and again, there's many reasons to come to America as there were people that came. And, that's part of religious freedom is part of the history, but that's not all of the history. Sometimes people get, they get so caught up in that's why we have America, because of religious freedom. Well, that's not the only reason. People were sent here. Did I walk right over iron? I sure did. As convicts and things like that as well. So, it wasn't all about religious freedom. So at any rate, I lost where I was going with that. I think I have enough redstone now. I got to make another pick. That's why I came back here. I'm going to go ahead and cook that up because I need all the iron I can get. I'm not finding iron. I'm finding everything else. And also watch my time. This is going to be the last episode I record right this minute, actually. I'm going to go take my dogs out. So my train of thought may change when I come back. I'm spending the morning doing this. Okay, I want to go get that iron. But the whole point of that was the reason I came back to church, and very, very briefly, because again, I don't want to bore you guys with a bunch of life stories, is that I wanted my kids to have the education. I didn't want them to be ignorant of the Bible stories and to not know, even if you're not religious or whatever, and again, that's fine. I just feel like with considering our country's history, it seems ignorant to me that we don't teach not the Bible. I don't want religion in schools, but it seems very ignorant to me that we don't teach the literature, the very basics of, okay, this is who Moses was, this is who Noah was, and tell it like a story, not like, oh, this is what happened, not that this is history, because not everybody believes that this is history. It's prehistory. We don't have, although there is extreme evidence that, Noah, they actually found what they believe is Noah's Ark, and, that's a scientific, actual found evidence thing. We don't know for positive. We don't know if the stories in the Bible are allegory or if they're meant to be historical, and many of the things in the Bible are not meant to be it's not a science book. It's not a history book. It's a story, and it's literature, and that doesn't make it any less true or any less accurate. But it's just the way we read it and the way we use it needs to be different than you would with a text. It's not meant to be a textbook for science and history. It's meant to be a textbook for how to live your life. And you study it in a different way, than you do. It might inform science and history. There are definitely things in there that have, over the years, and people think that Christians are anti-science, but history shows very differently. And that is the end of day 2, guys. I am sorry I got so deep into all this conversation. But I will see you next time. Hopefully you'll come back to hear the rest of my little diatribe. And I'll try to talk about something a little more interesting. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.